tell you a quick little story, E, and whoever else watching. So it had to be like 2013 at this time. And I remember I was locked up, I was incarcerated, I was doing a year bit. And I remember MommyRia came to see me, and she always do, she always was studying, always was reading. And she told me that she had got this book for me. She was like, when you come home, Stefan, I want you to read this book. I already got the book for you. It's called Contagious. I was like, why do you want me to read this book? Just listen to it. I got hip to this rapper named Nipsey Hussle, and a lot of the stuff that he talk about in his music and his interviews remind me of you. So me being the arrogant person that I was, thinking that I know everything about hip hop, and MommyRia never really listened to hip hop, I told her, I was like, you don't know what the fuck you talking about. And she was like, I'm telling you, he real good. You just gotta trust me, listen to him. I told you the same thing about Big Crit. So I come home, she made sure I was reading a little bit of the book. And when I start reading the book Contagious, they was talking about in Philadelphia was a particular store that had a $100 cheesesteak. And a lot of people, there was a lot of noise going around within town, like, can you believe this restaurant gonna charge people $100 for a cheesesteak? And even though everybody wasn't getting on the board or they can't afford the $100 cheesesteak, word of mouth, and they was talking about how word of mouth is still more powerful than the technology, than the social media shit. And the restaurant became popular because people kept talking about it. So then it made sense. Nipsey read the book Contagious, and that's why I'm assuming he made the mixtape $100. He was studying. So I was like, damn, career on to something, because she wanted me to always study for me to have different ideas of how I need to market myself and market my music, being as though we always been in our own lane. So then 2014, y'all, prior to 2014, I'd never been to a music concert ever. The first official concert I ever been to was with MommyRia, and that was one of the things we did together because I had came home. And guess who came to the Howard Theater? The first concert I ever seen in person was a Nipsey Hussle concert. And you remember when I was posting the extra tickets? I think shout out to Paris on our songs, Something Different and Next to You. Shout out to Paris. I remember I gave her the tickets, and it's just ironic when you talk about energy, when you talk about real motherfuckers connecting. You know what I'm saying? So even the Nipsey passing is so, him personally is so symbolic with me, because a person that I got to meet that I view as great, the great MommyRia, and her wisdom that I still didn't peep at that time. She was ahead of her game to even know what that nigga was on before he was reaching his height, you know. And ever since, and one thing I could say that stood out about this, because I wasn't familiar with the songs, like that was my first time really, like I knew of them a little bit because I was like, okay, that's the nigga that looked like Snoop, but I never studied him. And the one thing I could say, he had his fan base at the Howard Theater. And was we at the Howard Theater? We was at some place, I think it was the Howard Theater. But he was making a lot of music that people could feel. I was feeling that shit. And I couldn't even understand everything that he was saying, but I knew I was feeling it. And that's just a great memory. Shout out to D-Money, Dark Side Productions, because that night before we went to the concert, I don't know if you remember this. Hey, D-Money, you remember when me and MommyRia came to your house and we was chilling with you and your lady and stuff, and y'all was just talking about parenthood and shit like that. I think he was putting some beat software on my laptop or something like that. That was a classic day, and it's like I cherish that memory. I remember I got mad at MommyRia that night because I was like, oh, this nigga like that. And I was like, you know, we off our promote. I'm like, well, come on, let me get the picture in this joint. This is my first concert. Can you not be about the grind today? Can I have a moment where we in the moment and it ain't no picture? And I'm like, man, fuck all that, we trying. Whoa, looking back on it, I'm glad it's just a memory and it wasn't able to be captured. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad it's a blur. Cause yeah, so for me, I love Nipsey Hussle. I love his music. I love what he stood for. I love that E was hip. My man Easky, shout out to Easky. He was hip to the Marathon store, because I wasn't even hip to the store. I didn't even know we had that on the list when we went out Cali. And he was like, yeah, man, we going to the Nipsey joint. I was like, oh, the nigga got a store? And one thing I can remember, a lot of people in that neighborhood when we was on his street that he grew up on, a lot of people was happy to see, because they knew we was from out of town, and they seen us with the marathon bags, and they was just like, oh yeah, y'all doing good. Yeah, it was like everybody fucked with him. It was a good energy. It's a real good energy. But you know, so it always amazed me sometimes, like when you, especially underground artists, I always used to be like, I wonder what song finally came out to make this person get hip to him, or like how I tell people I got hip to 38 because I'm an AZ fan. And I just felt like I wanted to share y'all how I was introduced to his music and his whole way of thinking. That was the beginning. You know what I'm saying? So I gotta give a lot of thanks to the great MommyRia for that. I just wanted to share that story.